Take 15, a Take 3 Wrestling podcast. We're here after taking a day off because if I don't send a text message, Ernest isn't going to take the damn initiative. I am joined by Joe Lopez, even though my wife is doing dishes.
I mean, I love that. It means I don't have to do dishes, so I'm happy with that.
That's facts. That is a good thing. We are here. We're going to talk about what happened on Monday Night Raw. We're going to talk about what happened last night on NXT. But before we get there, let's talk about the thing that's been breaking the internet so far today. Ronda Rousey tweeted some things last night. Quote,
"Don't we just love her?"
Allegedly. She said, quote, I've seen you same fans chanting "We want Wyatt" last night, chanting "We want beach balls" over Bray Wyatt performing. If WWE is treating him like he was expendable, it was because of you ungrateful idiots did first.
Yeah, so not for nothing, but I'm just going to say it. If Ronda was any more bitter, she'd be Broccoli Rob. Like, that's how she comes off to me. She just never got the love from the fans in pro wrestling that she thought she would. And she just sounds like, I don't know, just like so upset that she didn't get over the way that she thought she would or the way that she was with UFC fans. And now here she is. She has no dog in this fight. She has no reason to be commenting on this whatsoever. And here she is putting out that and literally blaming fans for the shitty booking that Bray Wyatt was put through for the better part of 5 years?
Yeah, I'd say 5 years is a good number.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
I don't buy it, but she's also not wrong. We are the same fan group that chanted "We want beach balls" during a Bray Wyatt match.
I mean, yeah, but is that really? I don't know. It's a hard one. It's a hard one to. It's hard for me to agree because at the end of the day,
I don't want to agree with her, but she is stating a fact that occurred.
Yes, you're not wrong. But at the end of the day, if we're not enjoying what the wrestlers being like put into, I don't know. Like, is it our responsibility as fans to just sit there and be like, oh, well, but I like the wrestler even though they're booking him in a shitty way, so let me still be happy about it? I don't know.
I mean, we kind of went through the shit booking of Cesaro because we love Cesaro.
Yeah, we did. I guess
it's one of those things where it's like, no, Ronda chiming in right now is not optimal because at the end of the day, WWE made that decision to release Bray, whether it be for mental health or whether it be because, the wind blew to the left. I don't know what the reason is. None of us are going to ever really know what the true reason was.
Right.
Let's just be very transparent about that. So her coming out and saying what she said, like, yeah, you're an idiot because you were in the wrestling business for like a year and a half.
Right.
You never went on the indies. You never went through developmental. You were straight only on WWE. So, of course, you're going to defend Vince and Hunter and all of them for whatever decisions they've decided to make. Fine. You wave that flag. I get it. Stand your ground. Do whatever you have to make yourself feel better. But she does bring up an interesting point. These are the same group of fans that chanted "We want beach balls" during a Bray Wyatt match. Now, does that mean that it was because they're sick and tired of WWE's booking? Yes. But was that also 4 or 5 years ago when they had no competition? They could do whatever the fuck they wanted? Again, yes.
Right.
So being as attentive of if that chant would have happened 3 months ago at WrestleMania in Tampa, I could be like, okay, the fans, you can't say "We want Bray" to give WWE shit when you were doing this 3 months ago whenever we had Bray.
Right. But I also think at the end of the day, right, I feel like part of the point here it's not simply we want Bray. It's like we want Bray and we want him to be used correctly. We want to actually be entertained by what he's being put in. Like
I feel like we were being entertained by him for everything that he did before he left.
Well, yes, most recently, I agree with you. But I'm saying in general, like prior to that, like you were saying, like the 4 or 5 years ago,
yes,
when that was occurring, when people were chanting that during one of his matches, where it was like, okay, I don't remember what he was even doing at that time, but I guarantee you it probably wasn't anything all that worthwhile of his actual talents.
Yes, and then of course, wrestling journalist savant when Dave Meltzer had to chime in because
of course he did.
Because there's drama going on and Dave's got to be fucking involved. Saying, quote, "Please, blaming fans for somebody being cut when management made the decision. What a cop-out. Next thing you know, people will blame this on John Laurinaitis. First off, Dave, why?
Right.
Second off, reading Ronda's tweet back, because I read it first thing this morning.
Yeah.
Reading her tweet back, I don't think she's necessarily blaming the fans. She's just saying, why can you say we want Bray and chant for Bray when years ago you guys were doing this when you had Bray?
I guess. Actually, I took it a little bit more as like her actually blaming the fans when I read it. But I could see your point. I definitely see the way that you're reading it as well.
That's what I'm saying. So it's one of those where it's like, I don't necessarily think she's saying it's the fans' fault that Bray got released. I think we all know that it was either WWE's decision or Bray coming from them for that decision. Like, I don't think that this was like because the fans stopped buying his merchandise. No, because he's the highest selling fucking merchandise guy not named Roman Reigns or John Cena.
Right.
So it's not like the fans just were just like, you know what, fuck it, we ain't buying this guy's shit anymore.
Right, exactly. No, people were still very much supporting him, very much behind him, and they will be. They still continue to be. Although it is interesting that she's also coming out saying stuff about the fans after Bray himself kind of put out a tweet that was not the greatest about fans.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe I don't look. I don't know what his relationship is with Ronda Rousey. They obviously have worked together in the same company at the same time. I don't know if they were friends at all or anything, but who knows? Maybe this is something that this is how they're feeling, you know?
Yeah, Ronda always was very fickle with the fans, though. So
yeah,
I always take everything she takes with a grain of salt.
Yeah, so I do agree with you on that. I think that's actually a good approach to her, because at the end of the day, like I said, like it sort of always felt like she thought she should have been more popular with fans than she actually was, and like it's just kind of bitter about that.
Yeah. It's been reported by Bodyslam.net that WWE may have SummerSlam canceled.
Like full on canceled, or just like have to move it to the Performance Center kind of thing, right?
The headline says cancel, but I think that's one of those like panic, like, hey, click my fucking link thing.
Yeah, of course.
They said, let's see, Dirt Sheet Radio also said, you sent this earlier in the group chat, quote, WWE is expected they have to return to the Performance Center or another venue for their Thunderdome gimmick within a couple of weeks. While speaking to a source within WWE, Cassidy Haynes of Body Slam said that they feel that there will be a cancellation of SummerSlam. The feeling in the company is that they fully expect that they will not be on the road in 4 weeks, and that there is a concern about, quote, how they will be able to proceed in a non-contained environment. Currently, the belief within WWE is that they do not expect to have another round of lockdowns, but they fully anticipate a ban on mass gatherings to potentially come down within the next couple of weeks. If they do have to move it from Allianz Stadium in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, and go back to the Performance Center, how do you think this will affect SummerSlam?
I mean, I think it probably won't be anywhere near as fun of a show as I was expecting it to be. I'll say that much at least.
Definitely not as fun of a show.
And I mean, at the end of the day, like, do I think that John Cena will pull out and not wrestle on it? No. I think that he'll still make the shot that, you know, he basically agreed to. Do I think Goldberg will still be there? Probably. Like, I don't think it's too late in the game for it to affect the card in my mind. I don't know that I actually think that this is going to end up happening, personally. I think that we're more likely, because there are places, like I know New York City and a couple of other places are now starting to implement that if you want to go to an event that's indoors, or if you want to go, I mean, in New York, it's even like covering movie theaters and gyms and stuff like that. If you want to go to those things, you have to prove that you've been vaccinated. You have to have your vaccination card and stuff like that. I can see that happening sooner than I could see happening that the whole thing just outright gets canceled. And, you know, I'm fine with that personally. I think, you know, all the idiots who don't want to go out and get their vaccine are the reason why we're having the issues we're having again right now. So I'm okay with a world where you have to prove you've been vaccinated in order to attend these kinds of events and stuff, if that's what ends up happening.
So that is definitely on the list of potential problems that WWE could run into. Let's transition to what happened this week, the first 2 days of the week on the lovely entertainment shows that they have given us. We'll start Monday Night Raw. So let's talk about this one real quick. 11 minutes, Keith Lee over Karrion Kross to get his win back. Don't like that one?
And I know that we spent most of last week on these daily shows, and I think maybe even on the main show, talking about how, inconsistent. And we were talking about how it sucked that they brought Keith Lee back and essentially just had him lose. And now he's won. And that should sound like it should solve the problem, except now here we are with WWE's ridiculously inconsistent booking. And it's, 50-50 booking, however you want to call it, where now next week they'll do another match and Cross will get his win back and everything's set back to the way it was from its start and nobody gains anything. It's just kind of lame.
Yeah, not fun. 2-on-1 handicap match to start the show. Drew McIntyre over Shanky and Veer with Jinder Mahal via disqualification. He then brought out
Shanky?
That's what it says.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, talking about Shanky, Drew McIntyre pulled a sword.
Oh, my God. I didn't realize he was so Latino.
They pull out razor blades. He pulled out a full-fledged sword.
I mean, look, if WWE is trying to one-up AEW, Nick Gage is out there with his pizza cutter. You got to do something. So why not a sword?
Jesus. We then get a bloody women's match. Rhea Ripley over Nia Jax, 7 minutes, 35 seconds. Nia gets busted open the hard way.
Oh,
and then we get the tease of the Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler split up.
I mean, they might as well split them up. There's no other tag teams for them to wrestle anyway.
Well, I mean, they could face Tegan and Shotzi, who I think should win the tag titles, but that's me.
Yeah, but besides them, there's really not a lot of women's tag teams at this point.
Eva Marie and Doudrop.
God. Okay.
Mason T-Bar over Mansoor and Mustafa Ali in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. They get their win back from last week's Raw.
Great. I wonder what will happen next week between those two teams.
Mansoor will sell his kid to somebody on the black market or something. I don't know. Tamina over Doudrop, 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Damian Priest over John Morrison in 4 minutes and 10 seconds, which then led to Damian Priest and that god-awful motherfucker Ricochet over John Morrison and Sheamus in 2 minutes and 58 seconds. Omos over Riddle in 2:35. This is obviously leading to Riddle and Randy Orton versus Omos and AJ, correct?
I mean, like I said, I assume so, though we still haven't seen Randy or know anything about him.
So. We still have two and a half weeks until the show.
Yeah, true.
24/7, 7-Eleven, I-95 title, Reginald, a.k.a. Reggie, defeated Akira Tozawa. And in the main event, Nikki, almost superhero, gets her win back in a no-holds-barred match against Charlotte Flair, 14 minutes and 30 seconds.
So basically what you're telling me is I was only angry about the Karrion Kross thing because it was the only result that I actually saw. But at the end of the day, they did the same shit with pretty much every match that happened last week.
With different results.
That's so lame. It's just so lame.
It really is.
This is what's killing WWE, honestly.
Well, what's killing WWE is the lack of fucking talent they have because they let half of them go.
Yeah, but even when you have talent, what good is it if they're just trading wins back and forth every week?
I mean, we do have the world title on SmackDown on a guy who's fought 3 matches in the last, 6 months.
True.
NXT results from last night at the Capitol Wrestling Center in beautiful Orlando, Florida. Hit Rose, Ashante Adonis, and Top Dollar with B-Fab and Isaiah Swerve Scott defeated the Legado del Fantasma tag team of Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza with Santos Escobar via disqualification in 10 minutes and 52 seconds. Give me this 6-man tag match at TakeOver.
Yeah, I'm so down for that. Hey, real question. Where would they even put the Thunderdome if they needed to go back to that? I mean, the only
they'd probably go back. They'd probably go back to Tampa.
Could they?
South Florida's basketball stadium, probably, because they won't need that until winter.
Okay.
Ridge Holland over Eichmann Hero in 3 minutes and 13 seconds.
Easy for you to say.
This is what it needed to be, because Ridge Holland needed to just destroy this guy.
Right.
If we're going to build Ridge Holland up to be a badass, he needs a couple of these.
Exactly. And unlike on Raw, this guy won't get his win back next week.
Correct. Roderick Strong with the Diamond Mine over Bobby Fish, 12 minutes and 41 seconds. I like this match.
Yeah, I want to see that one. I obviously haven't watched NXT yet, and that sounds like pretty good. I want the 4-way. Before Adam Cole's gone, I want the 4-way.
We better hope that comes sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it needs to be like basically a takeover.
Yeah. We then get the Grizzled Young Vets, James Drake, Zach Gibson over Cameron Grimes and L.A. Knight. 4 minutes, 47 seconds. Malfunction at the junction leads to the victory for the Grizzled Young Vets.
That sounds fun, actually.
In a breakout tournament first-round match, Trey Baxter over Joe Gacy. 5 minutes and 10 seconds.
I was hoping Joe Gacy would win.
I was hoping he would at least make a run.
Yeah, for real.
And then the main event, the match that was really the star of the show, in a love her or lose her match for the love of one Indy Hartwell, Johnny Gargano defeats Dexter Lumis, 12 minutes, 51 seconds. Post-match, Indy breaks away from the hands of Gargano and Candice and runs out and makes out with Dexter Lumis in the ring. So I don't think it's the end of Index.
Yeah, no, Index is alive and well, it sounds like. I love it. I love this storyline.
I feel like if they made NXT Monday Night Raw and they made Monday Night Raw a part of SmackDown, we would be having these conversations about how much we hate fucking Monday Night Raw.
I feel like that's a fact. Or even if they just I don't know, obviously it's a totally different team that books NXT and writes those shows and everything, but they call up talent from the shows, from NXT to be on the shows. Maybe they need to start calling up some of the writers and bookers.
That makes sense. All right, so before we wrap this thing up, let's see. Tonight, AEW, let's see if I can find the card real quick for it so we can kind of...
Do you think we're actually going to get the Cody Malachi Black match?
I think we get something. I don't think we get anything crazy. I don't think we get a full-fledged match, but I think we at least get something.
That makes sense.
Also, breaking news just announced on PW Insider, face mask to be required at SummerSlam if they have it in Vegas.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That makes sense.
Also, 6-man tag match. I sent you the message about it earlier at Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Incoherent.
Love it.
They're back.
I've wondered where Hollow Wicked and Frightmare have been.
Well, we're about to find out. Also, it's been announced that 2.0, Matt Lee and Shane Parker, debuted last night on AEW Dark. They're in a match tonight against Darby Allin, Eddie Kingston, and John Moxley.
I love that.
Their teammate is Daniel Garcia. Let me see here.
What was their name in NXT? Wasn't it Even Flow or something like that?
Yes, they were even. Everrise. That's what they were. I was like, yeah, Even Flow. That's a good song.
Yes.
I'm trying to find the events page here so I can read off the upcoming card. Tonight, AEW Dynamite Homecoming back in Jacksonville. The number 3 chapter of the 5 LeBlurs of Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho versus Juventud Guerrera, with Jericho must win in a top rope maneuver.
I hope he comes out somehow dressed like the Lionheart. Give me that look. I understand it's probably not going to be the exact same tights from that many years ago.
No, probably not.
Give me that look.
As mentioned, Cody versus Malachi for the AEW TNT Championship. The champion Miro versus Big Shouty Lee Johnson with Dustin Rhodes in his corner.
I have no way to buy that Miro's not going to win that match. So, whatever.
Christian Cage with Jungle Boy in his corner takes on The Blade with Matt Hardy in his corner.
I mean, sure. Why not?
Exactly. And finally, in an NWA Women's World Championship Eliminator match, The Bunny versus legit Layla Hirsch.
If for a company that really needs to build its women's division, I don't understand why they're doing NWA Women's Eliminator matches, but I digress.
Yeah, I don't get it either, but hey, that's where we're at.
Yep.
So we'll finish this with some upsetting news. It was announced earlier today that the member of Team Taz, Will Powerhouse Hobbs' mother, passed away yesterday afternoon. So we're going to finish it with our love and respect to Powerhouse Hobbs and his family at this time. Thoughts and prayers to them.
Yeah,
The
for
unfortunate
real.
passing of his mother.
That's a shame.
A lot of people have come out to support him. A lot of the AEW roster. So we would be remiss if we didn't send our thoughts and prayers to Will and his family in this trying time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're gonna finish the show with that one. So Will, thoughts to you and your family. You can follow Joe on Twitter at JLoShuga. You can follow me at They Call Me Burn. Follow Ernest at EJ Christian 7. The show at Take3 Wrestling. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Take3 Wrestling. Always the number, never the words. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk about AEW. Maybe we have the live show, the big show tomorrow night, where we'll get into our fun topics for the week. So until then. For Joe, I'm Mike. Thank you for joining Take 15, a Take 3 wrestling podcast.